The sea stretches endlessly in every direction, blue upon blue, sky meeting water in a quiet, eternal embrace. And in the middle of it all, there is a man, Jonas. He was once a fisherman, a man who knew the language of the tides, the moods of the waves, the quiet whispers of the wind. He had spent his life on the water, his hands rough from casting nets, his eyes sharp from reading the sky. The ocean was his home, his livelihood, his companion. But on this journey, the sea had spoken in a language he did not expect. 3 days ago, Jonas had set sail alone, his small boat packed with supplies, his course clear. He had done this trip 100 times before, but the sea does not care for experience. It only follows its own rules. The day had started like any other. A calm breeze, the scent of salt, the rhythmic rocking of his boat against the water. Jonas had hummed a tune, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. But then, the change, a distant rumble, a sudden shift in the wind. The sky, once bright, darkened with an eerie speed. Storm. Before he could react, the wind roared like a beast, ripping through his sail. The waves rose like mountains, crashing against his boat with merciless force. The rain pounded down, blinding him. The sea, his familiar friend, had become a wild, raging enemy. And then, the crack. The mast split into two, snapping like a brittle twig. The ropes lashed wildly. Jonas lost his grip and was thrown against the side of his boat. His head struck the wooden planks and everything went black. When he awoke, the storm was gone. But so was everything else. His compass, his map, his sense of direction, gone. His small boat floated, broken and battered, on the vast, endless ocean. No ships, no land, no sign of rescue. And for the first time in his life, Jonas felt truly lost. At first, Jonas fought against the sea. He shouted for help, though there was no one to hear. He paddled frantically in a direction that felt right, but the waves pulled him back. He tried to fix the torn sail with his bare hands, but the fabric slipped through his fingers. His strength faded, his hope wore thin. But the sea, it did not change. It did not fight him. It simply was. And so Jonas stopped fighting, not out of surrender, but out of understanding. He began to listen to the sea, to the wind, to the rhythm of the world around him. The ocean moved at its own pace. No rush, no panic, only patience. He thought about his father, a fisherman before him, who once told him, "A man does not conquer the sea, Jonas. He learns to move with it." Jonas had never truly understood those words, not until now. Instead of wasting his energy, he worked with the sea, not against it. He collected rainwater in his hands, drinking slowly, rationing every drop. He used his torn sail as shade from the relentless sun. He watched the birds, learning their patterns, knowing that where they flew, land must be near. Most importantly, he waited. Hours turned into a day into another. He counted the stars at night, tracing their constellations like old friends. He listened to the silence, to the whisper of the waves. He realized something profound. For the first time in his life, he was truly present. No past regrets, no future worries, only now. On the fourth day, Jonas saw something, a shadow on the horizon, a ship. His heart pounded, but he did not panic. He did not scream. He did not flail his arms wildly. Instead, he did what the sea had taught him. He waited. He watched the ship's movement, understanding its direction, its rhythm. And when the moment was right, he raised his hands, waving calmly, purposefully. They saw him. They came to him. He was saved. As he stepped onto the deck, he looked back at the sea, at the small boat that had carried him through this test. And he realized something. Survival was never about fighting against time. It was about being present, about working with what was given, about finding strength and patience. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is be still. But in stillness, we find clarity. In patience, we find the path forward. So when life feels like an endless sea, when you are lost and desperate to force a way forward, remember Jonas. Breathe. Be still. Have patience. The tide will always change. And when it does, you will be ready.